So I have a little bit of a problem, a garage storage problem. I've been using my tool carts as storage shelves. You might be able to relate. I've got woodworking tools with automotive tools. I've got construction supplies. It's just unorganized, it's a huge mess, and of course it slows down productivity. But don't worry, I've got a solution, a garage storage solution. Now I didn't like a lot of the off-the-shelf options because they were either not very durable or they were metal and kind of expensive. And the worst part about the metal ones is if you spill something on the shelf, it ends up rusting, and they also didn't come in the color that I wanted. Why spend $400 on something when I can easily make it for $500? I designed and began building a massive 6-foot high by 4-foot wide storage cabinet carcass. It will sit on a super strong 2x4 caster frame with 3-inch casters rated at 300 pounds each. This cabinet is made out of 2 sheets of 3/4 plywood so far. I spent longer than I'd like to admit debating on if I should attach the sides using butt joints or dado the bottom ends of the side pieces where they attach to the bottom and top piece. I decided to keep it simple as this cabinet is already overcomplicated. You'll see what I mean later on. I used a makeshift track saw to cut down the plywood before running it through the table saw. I don't have enough sideways table saw real estate to run it through widthwise, with 6 feet of the plywood hanging off on one side of the blade. I cut about 2 feet off each sheet of plywood. On one sheet of the plywood I cut exactly 2 feet off, leaving 6 feet or 1.83 meters. The other piece that will be used for the back is the same length as the side pieces, but just 2 layers of plywood shorter, exactly 1.5 inches shorter or 3.8 centimeters. I took the longer of the 2 sheets and cut it down to 2 20.5-inch wide pieces for the sides. The cabinet ended up being 20.5 inches deep because of the doors and hinges I'm using. Once the top, bottom, and side pieces were cut, I gave the edges a quick sanding before assembling them. I had to get creative with clamping because I do not have any corner clamps, so I used the edge of my workbench. Don't do what I did and skip the pre-drilling. It is probably best to pre-drill all the holes. After the bottom was attached to the back, I flipped it over and was able to start attaching the sides. But bonus cut, don't ask me how, but sometimes even though I measure twice, I still have to cut twice. At least there was extra wood this time, instead of not enough. I proceeded to attach the first side. It was at this exact moment that I realized a proportionate set of bar clamps would have been helpful, but not having any, I continued on. I glued and screwed all the pieces, then started on the bottom caster. Oh look, I'm using a clamp. The bottom frame is made of 2x4s, and I doubled up the side pieces to give me something to bolt the casters to. I ran all the pieces through the planer to help square them up a bit. So now that the huge carcass is done, it's time to start on the bottom frame. I'm basically building a really beefy bottom frame that I'll attach some casters to. That way it'll be super easy to move around and very strong and be able to support a bunch of weight, the weight of the cabinet plus whatever I load in there. I was careful to consider where the screws holding the frame together and the lag bolts that hold the casters on intersect through the wood. That way they won't run into each other or cause the wood to split. So because of the way the caster bolts are going to be coming up through the bottom, here and here, I'm going to attach this long piece with a screw hole here and there, and then just one in the middle. That way I'm not running into those caster bolts coming up from the bottom. Some parts of the cabinet did not turn out as precise and perfect as I wanted or hoped them to, but I think for what it is, it's okay. It's just a storage cabinet, so I'll make it work. Hopefully on the next one, I'll be able to fine-tune it a little bit nicer. I'm pretty much at a stopping point for today. I got some lag bolts for the casters, but I accidentally only picked up 8 instead of 16, so I'll have to go get some more, and I guess I'll just stop where I'm at for today. Thanks for checking it out though. Hopefully on part 2 or 3, I'll finish this storage cabinet build. The next part should be really cool. It's where I'll be adding the unique feature to this storage cabinet that really sets it apart from other garage storage cabinets. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.